Over the past year, the average price of a new car has gone up by 13%. According to Kelley Blue Book, as of November, the price of a new car is just over $46,000. The company says dealers aren't really offering incentives anymore, and most buyers are paying at or above sticker price. Think about this a different way. A Cox Automotive Moody's Analytics Index tracks the number of weeks it would take an average earner to buy a new car. It's at 43 weeks, which is a new high. Part of the problem is a shortage of new cars that's driven by a shortage of computer chips, which is a critical piece. My guest on this topic tonight is someone who has decades of experience making these chips. But first, we get a look at how this is playing out at the dealership across the country. This story comes from our video partners at the Washington Post.
There's a lot of people that are looking at the car business right now and saying that, well, the car business is changed forever, and nothing's really changed in our business other than you see this lot is empty.
This all goes back to the start of the pandemic, when everything stopped. Automakers halted production, but by doing that, they gave up their spot in line at the plants making chips. These slivers of silicon matter, because cars are basically rolling computers these days, from navigation screens to tiny cameras.
I think there's been this kind of rude awakening for a lot of the manufacturers that they've become so dependent on these computer chips.
With stimulus money to spend, sales came roaring back. The chips did not. So vehicle sales have since taken a dive. It's been on again, off again for automakers and their plants. These pickups came off the assembly line, only to be stockpiled at this racetrack because they lacked chips. In Kansas City, the Ford plant has spent the year online, then offline, trying to make the F-150 pickup the best-selling vehicle in America. The GM plant has largely been closed since February. It makes the Chevy Malibu sedan, the kind of car that may disappear in all of this.
It's been very telling to see which vehicles get priority and which don't. And I think if you're looking for a sneak peek as to which models may or may not be around much longer, sadly, it's probably pretty easy to see at this point.
It's already happening at other automakers who are killing off models. The winners, higher-priced SUVs and trucks. Getting more chips into vehicles will take a reordering of the supply chain. Automakers have to get back in line, joining laptops, gaming systems, all the electronic gizmos people keep ordering during the pandemic. But building more of these high-tech plants is not so easy.
Because you have facilities that operate at such high capacity utilization, you can't just magically create more chips, and these plants take multiple years to build and cost billions of dollars to build.
A global clog in shipping is slowing down deliveries of raw materials like steel and rubber. For car buyers, it all means there's less selection and almost no haggling. You'll pay what the dealer is asking, and maybe more.
Let's explore what the real problems are and what it'll take to solve them. Michael Hogan has 35 years of experience in the semiconductor industry. He's now a senior vice president of a chip maker called Global Foundries. Mike, thanks so much for chatting with us tonight.
Big thank you. And on behalf of Global Foundries, appreciate the opportunity.
So how did all of our technology become so reliant on these chips in the first place?
Well, chips are really critical to every aspect of modern life. And I think it's been building up for really decades. The chip industry is about a $500 trillion business, and it took 40 or 50 years to get there. And on the pace it's going right now, we think within the next 8 or 9 years, it'll actually have to double that. So the criticality of semiconductor technology and chips to your everyday happiness is sort of been building up. And I think the place you're seeing it is in automotive, because most folks didn't realize just how much chip technology went into making the modern vehicle that we know and love.
So we heard in that piece that chip manufacturing plants aren't cheap, and that's just putting it lightly. Intel's American plant costs $10 billion to make. They're building 2 more facilities worth $20 billion in Arizona, and some machines alone cost $5 million each. I think after hearing those numbers, a lot of people are asking, why does it cost so much to make something so small?
Yeah, we sort of have a line inside of GF when we say, hey, it's not rocket science, but we mean it's not rocket science. It's way harder than that. So these factories that we build are doing amazing things to create the pervasive semiconductor solutions that enable our everyday life. And the fact of the matter is that to build a modern semiconductor manufacturing facility, you do need billions of dollars. You need an incredibly sophisticated type of tooling or equipment, and it takes a very long time to put that capacity online. So, I think what we see now is demand can change quite abruptly, but supply comes on much more slowly, and that's why we are where we are. But chip manufacturing is incredibly difficult and expensive, and it's actually getting more so, not less, just as demand for chips is winding up in everything that touches our daily lives.
Well, you lead me into that next question. There's only one single plant in the U.S. that makes high-end chips, like in Taiwan. What does it take for a factory like yours to make them?
Well, honestly, we have the most advanced foundry in the United States, making technology down to what we call 12 nanometers. There's sort of a misconception that the more advanced technology is what goes into everything. For example, the radars that help your car park itself or avoid collisions, those are built on technologies that GlobalFoundries makes that are highly specialized, benefit from a lot of research and development to create high performance radars, like the announcement we made with Bosch earlier last year. A lot of folks are having electric cars. To have an electric car, you have a big battery there to manage the power and the way it gets consumed by the modern vehicle. Those are built-in technologies that GlobalFoundries makes that go back a number of years or even decades, but they are still very, very critical to delivering the features that people care about. You don't have to look much further than your iPhone. Those cameras, that audio, the contactless payment, those come from a wide range of technologies that we've been building in this industry over the last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that technologies and stuff we use every single day. So I want to show you this graphic. We'll pull it up here. The U.S. only makes 12% of the world's chip supply. 75% of the production is based in East Asia. Why are we so far behind in the industry? Why can't we just make more chips? And why is it so important for the U.S. to make chips of its own?
Well, the simple fact is we can make more chips, and I think that leads right into the second part of your question. The political will to have legislation like the CHIPS Act passed will help to fund more investment in capacity in this country, and it's mission critical not only from a supply chain standpoint to end markets that we care about like automotive, but it's actually in our national security interests to have those capabilities right here on shore. So it's really just will and coming up with a different economic model that makes sure that capacity is funded in the same way it's funded in Southeast Asia, which is with more public-private partnerships.
Mike Hogan from GlobalFoundries, thank you so much for joining us tonight.